On today's video, we are going to talk about my haircut. I have done these videos before, but my haircut is a little bit different right now than it was in those videos. So I'm going to do an updated version because I have had people requesting lately that I show my haircut and explain it in a way that they can share with their hairstylist. Now, first of all, let me say I have not had my haircut in a year or so at this point, aside from trimming my ends myself. Now, I am a professional hairstylist, so me trimming my ends myself isn't exactly the same as you trimming yourself at home, but that's what I've been doing. The reason I was doing that is because a year ago when I had lost so much hair and so much had broken off because of the medication that I was on, I didn't feel like I wanted to go to a hairstylist and have them do anything because the only thing they could have done for me at that point is cut a significant amount of my hair off. So I kind of just went through a few months of pretty much just clipping it up in a clip every day and letting it grow. And as it has started to grow back, I have just trimmed off dead ends to keep it as healthy as possible until I've sort of grown back enough length and volume that I can go to my hairstylist and have it shaped the way I want it. I'm also trying to grow out the bangs that I had, and that is really impacting the shape of my haircut at this point as well. I'm still going to show you my haircut today, but I just want you to understand that this is not really a haircut that I had done by a professional hairstylist. However, I will pin the video here of when my hairstylist did a video cutting my hair and the haircut I had prior to all of my hair falling out and now growing it back. That haircut is the same one that she did in that video. So if you want to show that video to your hairstylist, she explains the haircut that she does completely on my hair, but I will explain to you now sort of what's going on with my hair. So if you like the shape that's going on with my hair, you can kind of maybe have that translated into a haircut for yourself. So first of all, keep in mind, today's day 2 hair. So I do have dry shampoo in my hair, which makes my hair a little bit more dry and full looking, a little less soft and flat. Like on day 1, my hair is a lot less volume on day 1 because of the natural texture of my hair is very, very smooth and very, very fine. And that's important to understand too. If your hair texture is different than my hair texture, then my haircut might not look the same on your hair. Okay, I have very naturally straight hair. I mean, if I air dry my hair somewhere super humid, I get a slight bend in my hair. But my hair is very straight, it's very fine, it's very silky, it's very smooth, and that does impact the way a haircut looks. If you have more texture, if you have a little bit of frizz, if your hair has a little bit of wave, then a haircut may react differently in your hair. So first, I have my hair cut from a center part. I do that so the entire haircut is symmetrical and I can part it anywhere I want. Obviously, it looks a bit different parted on the side and a bit asymmetrical parted on the side compared to parted in the middle, but that's how I like it. The first thing is I always have my ends cut blunt. They're not super blunt right now because I'm probably due for a trim, but I usually would have her take off everything that is really wispy and broken looking so that my ends can look really blunt. If I'm being really good and getting my hair trimmed every 3 months or so, then she can usually take off just a little bit. If I've gone 6-7 months, she usually has to take off an inch or 2, but I always take off whatever is necessary to make my ends look blunt because that will make your hair look a lot thicker. Next, I do like layers through my mids and my ends, and I do like a lot of what we would call internal texturizing, not with texturizing shears, never with texturizing shears, just gentle point cutting. And you can see that technique called notching in my video that I attached at the beginning of this video that my hairstylist did. That notching creates some smaller hairs underneath that help to create more volume and fullness in the mids and the top of my hair because it creates little hairs that push the rest of the hairs up. Now you want to be very careful when this is done that it's not done to the point of removing a ton of volume from your hair, a lot of weight from your hair, because we don't want to have less hair than we already have. If that makes sense. So you are going to have to take a little bit of hair out, but it needs to be done in a very precise manner so that it's creating enough texture to give you a bit more volume, but not so much texture that you're losing density to your hair. So I have generally liked a very prominent face frame. I like a heavy face frame. So right now, my face frame is okay. It's a little bit angular, a little bit sharp, because this all used to be bangs, right? I used to have a very heavy side bang, and that I'm growing out. So you can see these would have been my side layers before. This piece is very heavy and should probably be shaped a little softer, but right now I'm trying to just grow all of this down so I can reshape it, but I do like a heavy face frame. Now, not everybody is going to like a heavy face frame. What you need to know about a heavy face frame is it's going to remove a ton of density from how thick your hair looks, especially at the front, okay? All of this, if it was all down here, you can imagine my hair would look thicker. It would look a lot thicker. And the ends wouldn't look as thin if all of this on both sides was the same length as all of this. So when you decide to go in and carve out a pretty significant face front layer, you are going to lose density in your ends. The reason I like this, and I do tend to have a lot of my finer haired clients get this, is I really like to be able to create a lot of volume through my mid area. And if my hair is all down here and the weight is all down here, then my hair stays very flat. And yes, looks a bit thicker on the ends, but it's very flat at the top. I sacrifice some of that density on my ends to have layers through my mids so that I can get fullness. So that's just something to consider if you're willing to sacrifice those ends, but I do really like a heavy face frame in fine hair. Now for the layers everywhere else, I tend to keep those on the longer side. I'm going to show you my layers from the back, but there is a shelf of shorter layer in the back right now, and that I did not cut. That is hair that is growing back. There was a ton of hair in that area that fell out, so now it's been growing for a year and it's made kind of a shelf of layer, and some of it was breakage as well because my hair was very weak during that process. So I don't layer it that short. I don't usually layer it that short. It doesn't look terrible right now. It's grown long enough that it doesn't look bad, but it does look a little disconnected. I personally don't recommend disconnected layers in hair like ours, not that short at least, because it can create just a bit of a shelf. And that's not really what we're looking for. Short layers, yes, can help you create a lot more volume in your hair, but through the back, I prefer density as opposed to at the front. I don't mind short layers because I prefer volume, but at the back, I prefer density. So my preference for myself and for my clients who have my hair type is to leave the layers long, texturized and wispy at the back to create some movement, and then go in and do some internal notching to create even more movement. But we're going more for density and movement at the back as opposed to layers. But if you really like the way my hair looks, then it would be a shorter, more disconnected layer that you would ask for.
So as you can see, as I move my hair around, there's quite a bit of layer sort of between my nape and my occipital bone there. And I would usually layer it a little bit lower than that. I might have some texture up in that area, and it's not like a structured layer. You can see that it's just quite a bit of short hair that's growing back that had fallen out, and the rest of the hair is quite long, and I would usually have longer layers only.
Same as sort of for the sides. I have some shorter layers in the sides right now. You can kind of see it, the layers kind of like angle up to that shorter layer at the back. And again, I did not have it cut that way. That is from the way that my hair has regrown. If you like that shape, you can certainly do that. But as you can see, I sort of have a bit of a shelf here, right? Like it's there and then down, and that volume doesn't extend down because the layer is completely disconnected, and I don't have enough hair to go in and blend all of that together. So for the most part, I'm just growing mine until it is to the point that I can get a more soft blended layer. But if you like that disconnected look, that's what's going on there. And you certainly could have that done in your hair. I don't disagree that it doesn't look bad if you really like it. But I prefer to have more of that short layer at the front, blended in with more longer layers back here, as opposed to the layers almost getting shorter towards the back. But no matter what, I'm very happy with the progress that my hair is making. It is growing out really nicely. It is getting longer and thicker than it has in quite some time, but guys, I have been very meticulous about taking care of it, trimming it. Is it perfect yet? No, but that's okay. As long as I'm seeing progress, I'm really happy. If you have any more questions about the shape that my hair currently has, let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to answer those for you. Thank you so much for watching today. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. Make sure you pop by every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for my newest videos, and I do post almost every day on Shorts as well. See you guys in the next one. Bye.